These are really things that would take such a long time to do. What I'm trying to get you to understand is how much human hours are being used up by tasks that AI can do quicker, better, faster, easier, and with no mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another episode of Presuasion. If you don't know what that is, go back and check out some of the previous episodes. I've recorded two. One is the idea of Presuasion, which is good marketing makes easier sales. And then I talk about the framework. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the framework. And what we've been talking about is how to get good marketing, which helps in making easier sales. And for that to happen, you need high trust and active buyer intent. And for that to happen, there are a few things that need to be put in place, like assets. Today, I'm going to show you all about how to create these assets. We're going to create a 3-minute quick wins, a calculator, and a swipeable checklist. The idea here is that, which we all have, an audience that is latent, they're not ready to buy yet, and they're low in trust, as in they just found out about you. What kind of assets do you have to create to make them move up, either towards an active buyer or towards higher proof? And today we're going to create those assets using AI. Come, let's learn.
Hey, it's Ronsley. Welcome, you AI geek, to Amplify AI.
So what's the plan? So our plan today is to start creating assets. And the first asset is a readiness quiz. I've got a whole list of things that we have to put in play. To make that happen, we're going to create a swipeable checklist, and then we're going to create a 60-second ROI calculator. And this is because in our previous episode where we did the Presuasion matrix, you should have all the prompts and the stack, because we did it together, to create your Presuasion matrix. Now, this is mine. This is what works for us and for our audience and for our team and for our people. And that's why context is so important. But I'm going to do mine, and we're going to do it together. And also, if you want this whole playbook, comment playbook on YouTube or wherever you're finding this. And we're going to get you a copy of the whole prompt stack as we go through this. But let me just break down a couple of these steps, right? So if we were to create, first of all, the readiness quiz on our own, the first thing we got to do is create a list of questions, like what makes this work. So first is draft the questions, then you got to build the form, then you got to score and make the buckets on what happens when certain results come through, then what the results page looks like. We're going to then create like a CRM form, and then make sure that it's all linked together. And then there is some sort of quality assurance at the end, that making sure that everything is working. Swipeable checklist. The first thing is like we draft what the 7 things are, format and export it, and then distribute it. For the ROI calculator, what's the inputs, what's the calcs, what's the output, what does that look like, and then how to send it and how to make sure that it's getting quality checked and how it's all linked together. These are the steps. And not only that, in here, I've got like a whole bunch of copy and paste ready emails and stuff that you can use. But let's get into creating it from scratch. So I'm going to use my project of mine, which is Amplify AI Augment. And the reason for that, it's got a lot of context already in it, like some testimonials, our frameworks, what we are trying to do, what our analysis is, like a SWOT analysis of the market and stuff like that. So we're going to start by just copying and pasting that. You're going to see what your things are. So for me, this is going to be amplifyais.com, and we're just going to start with these project constants. So then, and I'm not using like this fancy model, I'm just using a normal model, which is actually pretty smart these days. Even a normal model is pretty good. So while it's doing that, I'm going to just talk about the next steps. The next step is like, it's going to validate and generate our 5 questions. Okay, so it's already in here, but what you're going to do is you're going to have your own versions of this so that you can just copy and paste them in here. Also, if you want this stack. Okay, so it has got all the standard. It knows what the AI transform methodology is, which is in the book, what the target is, what the goals are, what the campaign constants are. It asked me follow-up questions because that's in its project instructions. But I'm going to start by generating or validating the 5 questions. Just copy and paste them. And I'm just going to change this to questions for my audience, because it kind of knows who my audience is in the context. So it's going to refine the questions. And then the next thing that I want to do is kind of make it such that it can be exported. And I'm going to just go export to Google Forms because that's the simplest, it's the cheapest. It's free actually. So copy, paste, create a portable form spec for a tool like Google Forms. Are you actually ready for AI teammates? I'm kind of making it standard for some of the things. So I'm just going to go send. Again, just creating the from schema. So these are really things that would take such a long time to do. And, we can create an AI team member that can do all of this in one click, which is crazy. It's generating the schema. My next steps is to copy this and generate the CRM mapping and do that. So now when I go into Go High Level, we can just take this and import this straight into it. And with all the email templates already written, which is actually quite useful. Now I want to create the Slack notification. So what I want to happen is a bunch of things. So first, they come in, they fill out the form. From the form, they get a diagnosis, and then it gets emailed to them, and we have a follow-up sequence that gets done. From the follow-up sequence, it sends a Slack notification to us. So this is saying that, okay, this is what's come through. This is how they've come through. And then finally, like a QA script. So now in a matter of a few minutes, we've gone from, wait, what exactly are we creating, to a fully ready readiness quiz, along with every single piece of the thinking already laid out. So all you got to do is then go into your automator of choice or Zapier or Make, and then stitch all of them together, because you literally have all the stuff done. All you got to do is copy and paste. So now we have a fully ready readiness quiz. So if someone, and this you should have for your own business when you have your Presuasion matrix, and we're creating these assets that are in the lower left quadrant. So that's asset one done. That was pretty quick. I thought it would take time, but that's amazing. So after we got all that done, we can create asset two. So basically asset two is a swipe checklist, and all these are to build trust and get your people from a latent buying state to an active buying state. So I want to create a swipeable checklist. Now these are already done, but you can get it to create one for you. Don't just copy and paste, like read exactly what's being done. This is a common problem that the prompt pieces have and AI has, that we just accept all the changes, or we just keep going and copy and pasting without actually knowing what's happening. So we've created asset one. Now we're creating asset two, which is a swipeable checklist, which is, inside Claude as well. Because of the artifacts, it's so useful and how it creates that. But not only that, what I want is 7 slides, which I can put into LinkedIn. And I'm just going to copy and paste that. And not only do I have now a quick readiness check. So for my audience, what I'm trying to get you to understand is how much human hours are being used up by tasks that AI can do quicker, better, faster, easier, and with no mistakes in some cases. I'm not going to say no mistakes, because it's still, we require to have a human in the loop. But for me, my 7-step AI readiness checklist for my audience is, well, we're trying to get them to understand human hours versus AI team hours. So if one person is the bottleneck for routine tasks, like what are the bottlenecks this week? Each one of these saves you 10 minutes daily. If one person is the bottleneck, document once, auto run. If a client waits for weekly updates, create daily rollups. And how is you set up automated daily summaries, emails. If proposals take over 30 minutes. So basically, these are issues that every business face when they're growing, and they need an AI team member to just help them sort these out, which now are either not getting sorted out because we're just accepting it as a bottleneck, or it is being handled badly, or it is being handled well and it's taking a lot of time. So we want all that to change. Now it's created the 7 slides, which is great. 7 signs you're ready for AI teammates, common assets for templates, and it's made that, which is amazing. And it's created design notes because it's got my brand guidelines, and that's done. So then we created asset 2. Now let's create asset 3, which is this sheet. But what I'm going to do is, instead of creating the calculator like this, I'm going to create the calculator inside Claude. I'll show you what I mean. And by the way, you can take these prompt packs and you can do them yourselves, but I'm going to copy and paste the first prompt. And then I'm going to say design an artifact with these. So not only does it have the context from the previous pieces of information that we gave, it now should be able to use the calculations of weekly hours saved. And I want to show you that, this week we kind of gave the team a while ago and they kind of developed a local version. So this is on our computer, it's a local host, but it's an ROI calculator. Basically, if you change your team size and say, how much it is an hourly rate on average per person, and it'll calculate, if you install an AI team member, what kind of impact that will have. It's still early. Like, it's still the first version, but this is coded all from scratch. The full code is actually in the background. So it's actually running a development environment in the background. So it's not on any platform really. And this is what we've created. But let me show you that you can create your own version of that inside Claude, which it did here. And this is crazy, right? So just imagine you being able to do this at speed, and you can add a task and you can add, how long it would take to automate. So say, for example, it's 50 pounds an hour and it takes 5 team members, and your current tool costs, and it just does the whole calculation for you. So, but here is the great part, right? See how quickly it took us to create something that's useful. And you don't have to be too smart about this. Literally, you could just download this as an HTML and point an URL to it, and you can give it to someone, or you can publish this artifact and you can give it to someone to fill it out, and they'll get this ROI calculator. Or you can just open this ROI calculator if you're doing a presentation like I am right now, and just show what the cost and benefit is. Now, in our system here, the idea is that if you have, just say we have five team and $79 an hour, and we install a meeting memory AI team member that not only captures all meetings, but stores them, allocates them. We have a whole database that you can go and search for things. It creates the to-do list. It creates summaries. It makes sure that everyone's assigned their tasks based on what is pulled out of the meeting. That takes a lot of time for a project manager to do, and roughly, easily about 15 to 20 hours a week, depending on who's doing it. And so if someone installs that, they get this immediate ROI, which is kind of useful. And again, this is early stages, but the thing that also is a huge factor is, like, in the team of the 5 people, what do you think their adoption rate is? Would 75% of them take it up? Are they low? Will all of them change? What kind of, people do you have? Are they tech forward? Are they traditional? Are they balanced? And how long do you have? What's the horizon of this creation, right? And it'll automatically calculate this ROI, and you should have something similar for your business. So here is this really great scenario. So it not only did it create the calculator, but it also ran the scenarios and made unrealistic and realistic assumptions and put that down. And then basically I'm going to run this last one just because it's here. And once you have your ROI calculator, you want to be able to send, emails back and forth to the people that filled it out. And even that is in the prompt pack, along with all the connections. If you're using N8N, how to connect them all. Again, if you want these, let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video where we are going to do borrowed authority, and we're going to create these assets, which are the 90-second case clips, before after dashboards and stuff like that, which are also assets that are really useful for the audience that is still low in trust and proof, but they're high in buyer intent. They know they want to buy, but they just don't know you enough yet, and they want proof. All right, I'll see you in the next video.
Hey, AI Geek, thanks for listening. Your job doesn't stop here. I want you to lend your voice to the conversation. So you can join those conversations, discussions, new trainings, new recordings, and the rest of the AI Geeks by going to amplifyais.com. Also, share this podcast with a friend, another potential AI geek. Until then, much love.